Hello. How are you all doing tonight? How are we all doing tonight? How are you all doing tonight? Happy Monday. How was work today? How was work today? How was work today? Everybody good? How was work today? Happy President's Day. Happy President's Day. Hello. Hello. Thank you for sharing the live and thank you for joining, hanging out with me tonight. And I was just going to put the music on for us because I just have some people that just want the music. I love the music too. It just gives me the energy. How are you all doing today? Let me know where you're joining from. Let me know and let me put it. Where are you connecting from? Drop in the comment. In the comment. Comment. Where you are connecting from. Where you are connecting. Hello. How are you all doing? From. How are you all doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, guys. How are you all doing? How are you all doing? Happy to be here. Was not here yesterday. Who missed me? Who missed me? Hello. Hello. Yes. How are you all doing? Let us just hang out tonight, right? How are you all doing? Hello. Let's start sharing the live. And tonight, let me know where you drop in the comment where you're connecting from. What city, what state? I am in Texas, and tonight we'll be talking about something important. It's about real estate investing. Investing because a lot of professionals oftentimes make so much money, but then they do not invest. It just sits there. Savings a lot alone will keep you frustrated. You will be okay because you're saving, but then, hello, welcome here. And where are you connecting from? Happy President's Day. Happy President's Day. Where are you connecting from? I'm in Texas. It's really nice to meet you. Welcome and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. We have daily discussions every single day. Happy President's Day. And I have a question. Where are you connecting from? I'm from Texas. So I travel around. I've been to 22 countries. And I might just be in your country the next time and we can just hang out. Okay? So welcome. Where are you connecting from? Welcome. Consider subscribing if you haven't. I'm in Georgia. Hi, Megan. Nice to meet you. You are just an hour and 2 hours. It's just the difference in timing. Welcome to this tonight's live. Consider subscribing, to the channel. I come here every single day just to hang out, to talk about money, to talk about investing, to talk about how you can grow your wealth from zero to $1 million in 10 years. That's part of the strategy we talked about, the things that you can change. I'm a doctor of business. I'm a seasoned investor. So thank you, Megan. Awesome, Coin Megan. Thank you. And we just keep showing up. If you can hear the music, keep showing up. We'll keep showing up. It's all about that. We keep showing up. Like I said, if you're new here, consider subscribing because there is a whole lot of wealth of knowledge that sit here, right? A whole wealth of knowledge, things that no one, they never taught you in school, that was never taught in school, which we still have questions. Thank you for all of the likes, Queen Megan. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the live. Thank you so much for that. I'm here in Texas. Let me know where you're all joining from. I have Queen Megan joining from Georgia, and she just subscribed to the channel, supporting the channel. And really, I say this because I drop long form videos on Sundays. Like I just dropped one yesterday. I have videos on the different kinds of investing. These are not, I basically thank you all for joining. Consider subscribing if you haven't. And tonight, let me know where you're connecting from. I'm in Texas. It's really nice to meet you. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Okay? Consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk about things that you have never taught in college, in school, but will change your financial story. Really, will change your financial story. Here is not for get rich quick scheme, okay? It is basically people that want steady growth in their finance, want to change their story. I'm a doctor of business and technology, so I do things that are serious, and I have a name to protect. So whatever I tell you here, if you implement it, definitely you're going to see changes in your story. Omo, omo, ha, ha, ha. Welcome, welcome. Consider subscribing because I have long form videos. And Megan, I have to go, but keep shining and glowing. Remember, you are so amazing, and I'll sign in tomorrow. Good night. Awesome, Megan. Thank you. Thank you so much, Megan. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the encouragement. We keep showing up either ways. Even if it's just one person, it's a blessing. Thank you for all the ads. New Yorker, Brooke, welcome, welcome, welcome to the live. Welcome. And tonight, happy President's Day. For those in the United States, happy President's Day. Did you enjoy yourself? At least maybe you got some time off work. At least, breather, a fresh air, right? And that's what I do. Just imagine being able to do this, not having to wait till 65 years of retirement. You're able to have a breather. You're able to go on vacation. You can rest at, that's why I talk about personal finance, right? That's why I talk about. So consider subscribing. I have long form videos on Sundays and daily short form videos that will definitely help you. I tell you, if you subscribe and you do this, you watch the videos, you do whatever I tell you for 1 month, 2 months, and you don't see changes in your finances, your personal finance, I give you the go ahead. Please unsubscribe then, okay? But I am giving Casper, Wyoming, Cody Brown. Wyoming is very popular. It's so popular. The reason why it's popular? It's popular in the real estate and business world. Hey, Stephanie. Hi. That's my TikTok community. Hey, welcome, welcome. It's so good to have you. Did you enjoy this afternoon? I know you had a whole lot of questions about real estate investing that we talked about earlier. Caught you here again. Yes, I told you, good that you subscribed, right? Good that you subscribe. I hope I was able to add so much value, right? So Stephanie is one of the people in my TikTok community, because I do this on TikTok as well. Money Talk with Dr. Lina. I am just here to bless as much people. Hey, Toby from New Jersey, welcome back. Welcome back. Toby has been here consistently every day. Even if it's just one person, Toby will just be here asking all the questions in the world. God bless you. God bless you too, Toby. Happy President's Day. So if you are new here and you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. Please, let's share the live. Let us share the live. And Toby, I don't know. Stephanie Stephanie Kemija is from from my TikTok community. And she's the same way you are, very, always here. That's the way she's always there. Today, we talked about investing in real estate. Because aside the fact that I'm a doctor of business, right, and technology, right, or vice president of technology, I'm a seasoned investor. I invest heavily in real estate investing. So I have vast knowledge because I know that creates wealth. So earlier today, we did talk about how to invest in real estate, and that's what I still have on the board. And if you want, because the YouTube community is slightly different from the TikTok community, but then that's why Stephanie is here again because I know she got a lot of resources, and she's a plan. Part of our plan is to buy our first rental property this year. Actually, we have it, and let me turn this. I still cannot still figure out how to turn the board, but let me turn it so you would. Let me turn so you can see the screen properly. Okay. All right. And if you're new here and you are yet to subscribe, kindly, consider subscribing because it's going to help you. And for the purpose of, and Stephanie, we can basically continue from where we talked earlier. Just think about this. When it comes to real estate, right? I always, like I was describing, just imagine having house number one. House number one gives you $2,000. You paid it off. House number two give you $2,000, paid off. House number three give you $2,000, paid off. House number four give you $2,000. House number five give you $2,000, paid off. That is $10,000. That is $10,000 a month, right? That is what it takes. That's what it takes to be at that is what it takes. This stack of houses is what it takes for you to be able to quit your 9 to 5 if that's your desire, right? It's what it takes, because a lot of times people are not doing their job because they have passion for it or they love their job so much. I think it was Stephanie earlier. I was like, it's just like panic attack whenever you were going to work. But because of the bills, we often still focus on, the job. By the way, if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. And also because I have long form videos, short form videos there, and that is going to help you. And here we talk about, I help professionals build their wealth, get into financial freedom. Get into financial freedom. And if you're not a professional, and that's your goal, I also teach skill sets that would help you to get there. So that, because the goal is you start from a 6-figure salary, 100,000 and above, and then from there you are able to scale it, because it's about how much you keep. It's not about how much you earn. How much you earn only just makes the journey faster. Here we are just about not changing the status quo, right? Changing the status quo, which is the status quo is people work from 20 to age 65. Here we are saying that no, we can decide to do it in 10 years. 10 years is good enough. And with 10 years, we can still decide to work if you want to work, right? So this is basically making your money work harder than you do. And how do we achieve it? This is not a get rich quick scheme. And I'll turn the camera so that I can see if I have any question. Topic is real estate investing, correct? Yes, Toby, yes. And you know that I already turned the board just in case I'm not responding immediately. So I need to figure out how to, on TikTok it's just one click and you're able to, still be there and just mirror the image. I'm still trying to figure that out on TikTok. Yes, it's about real estate investing. So tonight, and this is what I talked about earlier, or for the past 2 days, we've been doing it on TikTok. And of course, I have a larger community. So Toby, consider subscribe, following on YouTube, on TikTok as well is Money Talk with Dr. Lina. On Instagram is Money Talk with Dr. Lina, and I typically am on TikTok between 12 and 3. Within that window, you'll catch me within 12 and 3, or even or 4 at times, depending on the teaching. And you would see it's a larger group, 30, 40 people at times. They're in that group. So what we talked about today, and Stephanie, I know that you because you were in the TikTok live. Why real estate? And I said there are other forms of investing. One is ETF, and where's my marker? Okay. One is ETF. We talked about that. ETFs will give you, I only talk about safe vehicles. So if your goal is get rich quick scheme, then you are in the wrong place because I have lost money. I've lost over 100,000 to, penny stocks, options trading. A friend of mine lost $50,000 to Tesla options trading. So because of that, I prefer, for me, it's protection. Protect the capital, right? Protect the capital first before any other thing. So anything that's going to make me lose money, the risk is too high, I don't venture into it. I only venture into investments that are proven. I have tested it, it's practical, it makes sense, and that's exactly where the millionaires, the multi-millionaires, and the billionaires put their money. The lot of investing, is Warren Buffett. You probably would have known about him. Is he tells you, if you ask him where do you put your money, one of the places he will tell you is ETFs, simple ETFs and index funds. That's what he's going to tell you. But however, this will help you drive discipline. So if you're a new beginner investor, you can put your money here, but it will help you drive discipline. Then it can help you save your money. It will drive discipline, consistency, and self-reliance, the confidence that you need to start investing. Because for instance, if you buy S&P 500 and you see that it's growing a little bit, then you'll be eager to say, okay, this investing is not totally as scary as what people say. It's not gambling, because it's a calculated investing method. And let me see if there's any other person that has question. Okay, what is a cap rate? Well, cap rate, and I'll get to it. Cap rate is basically something, capitalization rate. That is when you are talking about multi-units, right? Multi-units. So this is lifetime cash flow. You might want to get, if you are in, because it seems that you are beginning to go into multi-family. Capitalization rate is very critical. It's like almost like the return on the investment. You calculating the return on that investment, right? If you get this book, you will learn everything about that capitalization rate, and I can even open it. Well, so but tonight, let me just, for the purpose of other people on the live, let me just go through it. But definitely we can talk about that after, right? So there's ETFs, there's index funds, right, which is a good starting point. However, why do I talk about real estate a lot, right? I do have funds in here, 401k, my Roth IRA, all of that are in this bucket. Then a little bit of brokerage are also in this bucket. However, real estate is the only asset class that will give you cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is basically, you buy a house, you buy a rental property, you give it to a tenant, the tenant rents it out, you rent it out for it gives you $2,000, for instance, on a monthly basis, but you owe the bank because you bought the house with a mortgage, right? You bought it, the bank paid for the house, right? So let's assume that you pay back the bank $1,800 every single month. The difference between the $2,000 and $1,800 is $200. That is cash flow for you. So it's almost like the return on the investment on your down payment that you put towards that house. That's the return on that investment that you put in, right? That $200. But on top of that, remember, you are paying the $1,800 back to the bank. It reduces your loan. This is actual cash as well, right? Understand that this is actual cash, because as you are paying, let's assume that it's 15 years mortgage or 30 years mortgage. If you have paid for 5 years or 10 years, if it's 30 years mortgage, it means that you have close to 1/3 of the value of that property. Your ownership is 1/3 or even more, depending on your down payment in that property. And this is actual cash. You don't need to sell the property. You can actually do a cash out refinance, take out the money, and then you would use the money, you can invest it. That's the other thing, equity. So the $1,800, but guess what? It's the tenant's money that is paying it. It is not you. Everything, $1,200, $1,800 is the tenant. But the icing on the cake is the appreciation. So appreciation, if you buy the property in the right places, and that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, here and on TikTok as well, and we can even touch some other things, any other topic we want to talk about, maybe like the capitalization rate and all of that, that Mr. Toby was asking from New Jersey, right? So appreciation here, it means if you buy it right, And of course, I'm going to teach how to buy it right, because I believe that's going to be the next question. Appreciation is when you buy a property, if you buy it in the right location, it will double its value every 10 years. Every 10 years. It means that if you buy the property 200,000, in 10 years, that property should be worth 400,000. You can check it yourself right now. Do this, check the statistics, you will find the same thing. Use ChatGPT. How long does it take a property to double its value in a good or a good location? And I've tested it. The property we bought in 2017, as of today, even though it's just in the 9th year, not even exactly 9th year, it has doubled its value. So I have already proven, and I've practicalized it. So like I said, I only talk about things that I practicalized or I've tried. Okay. What? Okay. I'm just checking to see if there's any other question. Feel free to, if you're new here, kindly consider subscribing, and let's share the live if we can, just so we can get some other more people to learn this, and just help some others, And then the last part, so it just simply means, appreciation simply means in 10 years you have your money that you invested, and at the same time you still have the building. So if you want to cash out, your value, the property, and you can easily take out 200,000. Remember, you only invested, the house cost 200,000. But in 10 years, the property will be 400,000. You can easily take out addition a 200,000. You're 100% of your cash out of that investment. And remember, you can even take more, because every single year you're paying. By year 10, you've already paid close to 1/3 of. It might not be 1/3, because you would, because you probably put 20% down, and at the same time, I know that in the early years, the year 1 to 7 or something, they are focused heavily on paying off the interest. So whenever you pay mortgage, the bank takes use more of your mortgage payment to offset the interest rather than the principal, right? Rather than the principal. So yeah, but you should be able to take 200,000 if that's your goal through cash out finance process, and then of course you would have also gotten cash flow. Now ETF is not able to do that. ETF will only give you cash flow, and that's if you invest in an SCHD, so like a dividend paying ETF. So like an SCHD that it's basket of funds of dividend paying stocks, right? And then the last one is tax benefit. This is really huge, and there's no limit to this, especially if you have a W2. You are working. W2, basically people that are working, or even a 1099, I believe so, but you need to check this with your tax consultant. But every other thing, so for instance, if there is vacancy in the property tax, your insurance, something, the house got flooded, or you repaired the property, or there was a damage in the property, you use it to offset the payment, that your taxes that you're supposed to pay. Your W2 you owe, let's say you are supposed to pay back the government before the April 15th. You file your taxes in terms of W2. It's now, because you're high income or whatever, you're supposed to pay them back $20,000, right? For instance, right? $20,000. But instead of you paying the $20,000, because you bought a property last year and you paid insurance, you paid property tax, you paid I don't think I think HOA is also a part of it. You pay all of those, and then maybe there was a vacancy, you did repairs. You can actually file it against that 20,000 and reduce your taxes. You can even end up, if the expenses or the deduction on this real estate is 30,000, IRS will end up paying you $10,000. Even though ideally you should be paying them, they will pay you back. Right? And you're not doing anything wrong. This is within the tax code, because the multi-millionaires and the billionaires, remember, they are in power, they try to take care of themselves. It's the middleman that, doesn't know all of those things. It's within the tax code. You're not doing anything wrong. That's why a Mr. President would say, okay, you know what? I don't have taxes. My taxes is this minimum, and people will be raising eyebrows. No. Because it's heavily invested in real estate. And 3 days ago, I talked about, where does the wealthy put their money? Where does the wealthy, if you want to do You want to be wealthy, you want to become a multi-millionaire, you want to become a billionaire in dollars, by the way, in dollars. You need to figure out where do the billionaires and the multi-millionaires, remember I did not even say millionaires, right? Because I'm not talking about somebody that just have 1 million. I'm talking about multi-billion millionaires and billionaires. Where do they put their money? You find out that majority of them, I've done the, I did the analysis, majority of them have investments in real estate, and it's because of things like this. You also, maybe you'd have also had some of them have NGOs, right? NGOs, or foundations or whatever. Those are strategies for them, and you'd have heard them. They say, we don't pay taxes. We don't. It's the average man that actually pays all those significant taxes, and that's why they never sell. Okay, let me see if there's any question. Someone is trolling. What is the credit score and how is it calculated? Okay, so let me turn. I think I have question. Let's turn this. Okay, so, and we'll go back to it. And you said, what is the credit score and how is it calculated? Of course, okay. And I would, in a TikTok live, was it yesterday? Yesterday, and I think Stephanie, you were there. We got a credit expert coming to talk to us, and I'll bring, because I only speak to what I know, right? And that's what I'm going to do. And let's share the live we can, so that some other people can learn. And if you can also, let me. Where are you? So what she said was, in terms of credit score, right? She's a credit expert, right? She did say there are 5 C's. So good question, Toby. 5 C's. They are, the first thing is character. So if you are looking at, okay, your credit, or if you want to get a loan, a mortgage or something, right? The first thing that they will think of, they'll look at is your character, right? She calls it 5 C's. The second is capital, right? The third is capacity, right? Then the third is capacity. So character, collateral, capital, capacity, and then the condition, right? The condition. That's how it is being calculated before they can give you any form of loan, right? That is how they can. That's why somebody will get this, or, but that's what, how you can be able to get. That's like a cheat code. This is what they use, right? But in terms of, you're saying, how is the credit cost calculated? First thing I will tell you is, you want to go look at your. Do you have Credit Karma? That's like a free app that would help you with your credit, right? Let me show you. Credit Karma. It's this app, right? CK. You see the CK, like that first one there? That's Credit Karma. It would help you, right? There are different ways, right? There's FICO score. I think there are 3 different bureaus, right, that manages it, and it's just to also confuse all of us, because whenever the one that they use for qualifying for homes, it's different. It's different rating. The one they use for the auto loan is different. The one they use for your credit card is different. So, I got to one place, my credit was 800. And I got to another place, the same time, it was 730. But it's about their calculation. But one thing I always say, or one thing that's helped me, is low utilization on your credit. Having your utilization low, right? Keeping it to the barest, like keeping it, most of the time they say below 10%. But I would say not using it more than 3%. So that would help you, right? And then paying it off consistently, like you are using it like a debit card. So when you use it, you pay it back. Thank you for sharing and thank you for subscribing. When you use it, you pay back immediately. If you don't have the money, you are not spending the credit card. You are not spending on the credit card because you are only using the credit card for protection, right? Because if there's a fraud on your debit card or your account, you might not be able to get your money back on time, or even you might not even get it at all. because of investing. But if it's credit card, it is their money. And on top of that, what I always say is that you can use it to build your credit, right? And another thing that the credit experts talked about was if you are new in the game, like some people just got into the country, right? Or you are or for younger kids, right? Two things that you should consider, especially for kids turning 18. Before they turn 18, if you have kids, consider putting them on your credit, like an authorized user. It's not like you might not necessarily give them the credit card, but have them. But your own credit as a parent needs to be good, right? Whenever they turn 18, okay, let me finish this, then I answer you, Stephanie. Whenever they turn 18, it becomes so they would have their credit score will be at 800. While their mates are looking for credits up and down, they already have 800 credit score. I think 850. I think that's the height. They already have that. So if your goal is okay, they're setting up. That's if there's anything, even if you are not giving them money, you can give them that. But you need to ensure that your own credit is good as well. You need to ensure that your own credit is good, and you are responsible with it. The other thing is that if it's an adult or something, they can also get a secured credit card. So you can get it from the bank. It simply means that you have your money, and they give you a credit card against the money that you have. So your cash of $500 that you have there is secured against that credit, and you keep using it. Once you're able to do that for a couple of months, you can be able to get the unsecured credit, which is this normal one that's not tied to your capital or your money in the bank, right? So that's the other thing that the credit expert also talked about, right? So I hope I answered your question, Toby, right? And then Stephanie, you said my issue is spending more because of cashback I get when I use it. And I don't have a problem with that. I know that Dave Ramsey doesn't like me for this, right? I do not have a problem with that. But use it. See, your credit will be good. Let's assume that your credit, you used it. It happens to me too. So for instance, if I have certain projects, so like what's it called? Even though mine is more of a business card, right? Which does not impact my own credit. But let's assume that we just bought a house and I need to fix that house, right? I am basically, and like I said, when I talked about it in the afternoon, I'm buying the materials for the contractor, right? And I'm just paying them for labor. I would use my own card to buy all of those things, so it could become heavy. But at the same time, as I'm doing that, I'm making sure within the next couple of days or weeks, yeah, hi Toby again. If within the next couple of days or couple of weeks, I am paying it off as well. I'm paying it off. Trust me, your credit can jump by 50 points even with just this strategy. It could jump by 40 points. Because if it goes really high, like you spend it really high and you pay it off immediately. I don't know why, I noticed that my credit just jumps up by 40 points. So it might be a good thing if you are disciplined enough. And I understand it if you have the cash. So far you have the cash to pay it off immediately and you are just enjoying the rewards. Why not? Just do it. But just make sure you are using it the next day or 2 days or within that week, you are paying it off. Then you should be fine, because you get the rewards for free. But if you know that you do not have the money, or you are not disciplined with paying it off, then don't even try to do it, right? Because you need to be disciplined, right? That's the first thing. You need to be, if you know that you don't have that money, you cannot say because of reward, you are now buying something more and going into the debt. No, because you are buying something that you don't need, right? But if it's something that you truly need, like I said, I am incurring good debts because I'm buying appliances for a house, or I am buying flooring for a house from Floor and Decor, and we want to fix all the floor. We want to change it to vinyl. Of course, I'm not going to use a debit card or cash to pay for it. No, I'll go to Floor and Decor. I will use my I'll keep that in mind. Okay. You put that money I will pay for it, and then within that same week, then I'll pay it with cash, because of course the cash for the rehab is already in I have it on hand. Okay. All right, let's go back. Let us go back to the board.
Here comes your student loan debt. Is private student loan debt wrecking your life? You really need to talk to Larry.
Okay. And before I go ahead, any other question? Let's share the live, please, if you can. And if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing, because it helps, right? It helps. I tell you, you will learn more. You will learn so much that you'll be thankful that, you're here. You'll be thankful, because it's going to change your personal financial mindset. It will change your investing mindset ultimately, because it's almost you seeing somebody that's walked the journey and it's just telling you. I give it as is. And I know, Stephanie, there's also the motivation and inspiration section as well. So this is that's why I always talk about real estate. And then these are the different strategies. There's the BRR strategy: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. That's one strategy where the goal is you buy it, you rehab it. We are buying off the market through wholesalers, right? Buying off the market, we rehab it, we rent it, and then we cash out, refinance, take the money, and then we repeat the process. We'll go buy another one, buy house one, and like we talked about 3 days ago, we buy house one, house two, house 3, house 4, house 5. Once you get to house 5, that is supposed to take us to $1 million. And of course, if you're in a market that your property is way more than that, 300 whatever, get it to a place of 1 million. Once you get there and you are good, then start paying it off, because you do not want to over leverage. Over leveraging, that's you putting yourself in so much risk. And what is over leveraging? Leverage is basically credit. That's what it means. The mortgage. It means that you hold so much to the bank, right, that you can cover. And that's what happened to a lot of people in 2008, when the property value or the economy went gathers, right? And banks property went down, not because property went down because of the economy. The houses were not rented, and people could not pay their mortgages, and the bank started calling off back those loans, and there was a lot of foreclosure and all of. But that's an extreme case. But regardless, you also want to protect yourself. That's why I say, want to buy 5 or buy whatever you are comfortable with. Start paying it off. Know that you have sufficient amount that can pay off this rent or pay off in a case of vacancy. Always think about it. There could be vacancy. Are you able to still take care of your mortgage? Are you able to take care of your mortgage for the next 1 month, for the next 2 months if it becomes vacant? So those are things that you also need to consider. Okay? And then wholesaling, we talked about that. Wholesaling is just the intermediary between the buyer and the seller. Remember, we are not buying off MLS. We are not buying off MLS. We are buying MLS is basically the storefront for properties, right? Where do you, if you want to buy a car, right, you go to the dealer shop. MLS is for houses, it's for properties, right? It's online, it's a person and all of that. So we are not buying from the show glass. We're not buying from there. We are buying basically from, we are buying from Facebook Marketplace, basically, something of that nature, if you want to come to think of it. It's not the shining, but it just requires a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of touching the ground and all of that, little bit of you're changing appliances, because the owner or the seller is not ready to do that job. And because of that, we are buying it at a discount. So the property is worth 200,000. We are buying it at 180,000 for the inconvenience, right? To do the rehab, right? Rehab here. We are doing the rehab. So that's the deal, because this will give us equity upfront, because the property is worth 200,000. You bought it 170, or and you fixed it with 5,000. It gives you 25,000 equity upfront. So that is part of me saying you need to buy it right. Buying right is very important, because that is part of it, because you want to already squeeze as much as possible. You are not doing bidding war. You are not joining them, because in 2023, 2024, a bit of 2022, there was a lot of bidding war, right? A lot of bidding war where people are competing for one house. They would say the house is the owner wants to sell it for 300,000. People will be bidding 380,000 on a property, which doesn't make sense because the house in itself is only worth 300,000, which is the reason why the seller puts it for that price, right? So we are not doing that. We are not FOMOing, right? We are not, no fear of missing out. Take your time, buy it right? Use the wholesalers, connect with wholesalers within your city, right? To be able to do that. Another strategy we talked about was fix and flip. Fix and flip stops here. So you buy, you rehab, and you sell. Instead of rent, you sell, right? That's what I don't do that, because for generational wealth, we are not selling, because when you sell, you are, and I respect people that do that. It's instant cash, instant gratification. You buy, you sell. That's not my own strategy. I am here for the long haul, right? Because when you sell, you pay capital gain taxes. You miss out on the tax benefit. You miss out of appreciation. You miss out of cash flow. The only thing that you enjoy is more of equity, right? That's the only thing, because you are selling, you buy low, you are selling high. Basically, that's the only thing. That's almost like trading real estate. That's not investing. This is just like trading real estate, not investing. Another way is auction buying. Auction buying is, of course, banks takes the property and put it for foreclosure, right? Then they go into a place and they say, okay, investors, come and bid for this house. This house is worth 300,000, but we are putting it out for 150. Who is the highest bidder? And everybody start raising the plan to say, okay, I want to buy it for this price, I want to buy it for this price. And basically that's how it works. But you need to make sure that do your own due diligence. Make sure that there's no lien on the property. Do a drive-by before you can do. This is more like, I wouldn't say somebody that wants to start afresh, to start from here. Do not. Because I've seen people got burnt with this. You don't want to start with the basics, simple, easy ones, right? This is almost like a more advanced investing strategy, right? Except you have somebody that is doing it, that can hold hands with you, that can help you do all of those research to make sure there is no first lien, second lien, or even at times there are third liens on this property, and then you think that, it's cheap, but then you end up inheriting something that you do not know. The property might even have zero value at the end of the day. So that's why you want to be careful with this. And let me check if I have any question. Okay. What would you do if you receive lottery winnings, an inheritance, or any other unexpected windfall? Mr. Toby, that's a very solid question. It's for me to board. What else? Please, can you put numbers? Because I'm looking for it. Can you put numbers to it, right? Put numbers about the inheritance, the winnings, and the lottery. Can we put numbers? But on a more serious note, it's good to imagine if I happen to go into for it to make sense, it has to be tens and tens of millions of dollars, right? Because of course I can work hard and invest and get to 10 million. I can do that. It's not in my lifetime. I can definitely do that with what I know and what I do, right? But it can only make sense for me when it's like tens and tens of millions of dollars, right? What will I do? Of course, first of all, I'm going to definitely just put it in a bank. At the minimum, if it happens right now, I'll put it in an IE savings account. Let it generate 3 to 5%. That's because I don't even want to think, and I don't want to talk to anybody about it. It's just me while I strategize. For the next 30 days, I want to drink a lot of water and mind my business in this process, right? Imagine it and sleep over it. I'm not doing anything, right? And Toby, if you have gotten, you need to share with me, my friend. You need to share with me if you have gotten those those millions. I'm just kidding. But then that's what I would do for the first 30 days. Put it in an IU savings account generating 3 to 5%, just for me to relax and be able to strategize. Then after this, I will now, what am I going to be doing differently? What I'm going to be doing differently would now be like, okay, I'll put some of them in, simple ETFs. So buy, and it depends on how much it is. If you are talking about 100 million, right? I might just leave it in the account and just enjoy the rest of my life. Whatever interest, if it's generating 10%, if it's a fixed whatever, because conveniently I will get 10%, I will negotiate with the bank. All those IU savings accounts, I will negotiate with them with that kind of money, and I will get 10% return on it. And that's it. Zero risk, and all my 10% that I'm getting on it is all that I would use, and I'll be using to feed my life. 10% of 100 million, that's $10 million. That's $10 million a year. That's enough for me, my next generation, my everything. I really do not need to stress myself to start thinking. I will just make sure I negotiate a zero risk, zero. And this is me, because you're asking what will I do. This is me. If it's like I will just put it where, in a vehicle that gives me a fixed return, no risk. So like FDIC insured, zero risk, 10%, giving me, that's $10 million a year. That's enough. That's more than enough for my lifestyle. I don't ask for too much, right? It's more than enough. But if it's lesser than that, I'll put some in ETFs or index funds, right? Then of course I would venture into multi-units, right? I'll put in I'll look for 100 or 1,000 units, either to buy it, apartment, or I would build it, buy land. Land is also a good one. Buy land, do multi-units there. I will also put a warehouse, no, a storage, right? A storage is another thing that I'm going to put there. If I like, I can have a gas station. If I like, what's the other thing? So I'll definitely have an apartment complex, and I will definitely have what's it called? Storage, right? If I also like, I can just buy land and just be a developer, depending on the energy that I have to stress myself, right? If I still want to stress myself, I can do that, and I just buy land and I develop it and sell the property, right? That's the other place. Otherwise, if I don't want to stress myself, I put it in simple ETF, let it be generating money. 8 to 12%, I am okay for the rest of my life, right? What are you open to where are you open to retire? Where? Well, I don't know yet. Where? I don't know yet. On a private island would be very beautiful. Very, very private island. There's one island that I went, which is Bora Bora. I tell people to visit there. When they say 120 shades of blue, it was a beautiful island. All of those bungalows on water, it's beautiful. And like I said, Stephanie earlier, I'm one person that I talk about. The reason for my own money is not to, it's not to oppress anybody. It's just for myself, because I like good things. And if I like good things, then I work hard for those good things. So really, that's it. So back to here, house hacking. We talked about auction. House hacking is another strategy, right? Thank you for sharing the like. Thank you for all of the likes, and and for, if you are new here, consider subscribing, both here and on TikTok and on Instagram. It's Money Talk with Dr. Lina. Across board, be my community. I love every one of you. Just seeing everybody show up everywhere is so beautiful. So Toby, hopefully I get to see you into TikTok live tomorrow, right? And so house hacking simply means that you buy a house, you stay there for a couple of months. For like 12 months. Is it 12 months or 24 months? And then you move to the next property. Here you'll be able to use an FHA loan, because with FHA loan is the first time homeowner buyer. Almost like it's a three, instead of you in buying a property at 20% down payment, you are simply bringing 3.5%, right? out of your pocket to invest in that to buy that property. But the requirements, it's first time home owner. It did not say first time investor. So you have to live in that property for a couple of months, right? Like, or years, like either 12 months or 24 months. You have to stay there. Then before you can say, okay, now you start using it for investment. This helps you leverage faster, right? Because you can easily stay there and then move. But in terms of house hacking as well, what I would recommend, especially if you're in the East Coast, like Toby in New Jersey, Stephanie is in Indiana, right? Is it Indiana or Minneapolis? Right? I think you're in Minneapolis, Stephanie, right? Let me check. You are in Minneapolis. Yeah, Stephanie is in Minneapolis, right? So for those that are in there, in New York and all of or Canada, you realize that you can easily live on one side of the property or live in the main house and rent out the basement. That's an house hacking strategy. Then there's also buying. That's basically that's that. So whereby somebody is paying you rent, you can use that rent to pay the mortgage while you use your own money to buy another property, right? That's another strategy. This would help you accelerate the process, real estate process faster. The other thing is buying out of state. So if you are in New York or you are in New Jersey or you are in the East Coast, Maryland, all of that, where the properties are pretty expensive and you're like, where are we even talking about 200,000 property? Yes. In my own diary, there's no impossibilities. It's about what's the extent, right? If they tell me, there's a risk here, but my question is, okay, it's on the other end. How do I navigate it? Buying out of state is one way. Look for other states that you can, is within where you can invest in, but it's also a investing environment. So I've heard about Ohio. I've heard about Indiana. I've heard about I know people invest in Atlanta as well, Georgia. But I've had cheap houses in Michigan, but you just need to be very careful with Michigan because you might not enjoy. You might be able to be good with the equity cash flow, but the appreciation might not be there. That's one thing. So just do your research. Buying out of state, but you also need to get help. Get help. Be comfortable with it. You need to probably find it a couple of times. Do your research well before doing the strategy, right? But of course, there's no impossibility. Don't let it be like, okay, because something is expensive, is not doable. How should you get it done? What is that? Obstacle, and how do I navigate that obstacle? Right? There's no showstopper. Then, in terms of renting, which is the next one, we talked about one of the strategy is short-term rentals. So you fix it up, you rent it out on Airbnb, Vibro, and there's some other ones. You can rent it out 7 to 30 days, 1 to 30 days. That is short-term rentals, right? The other is medium term, 30 days and above. It's medium term, and of course the regular one that we all know, renting it out for 1 year, right? And then they pay you every month with a signed contract, signed lease agreement. Other strategies that can also accelerate your income, because definitely short-term rental will increase your income, medium term will increase your income versus long term, but of course the stress is also more. There's also strategies like group home. So they have group home, just as it sounds, for elderly and people with that need support, right? And of course there's also Section 8 where government supports the homeowner, not the homeowner, the tenants, to pay their rent, just like food stamp where they give food. This is government housing, so government will be the one to be paying your rent. This is steady income, but a lot of times, because I don't do this, but some people, it probably works out for them. But the houses here, there's some form of risk that comes with it, because if somebody is not paying for something, they probably don't take care of it as well. So, except you have properties within the D neighborhood. If I have any property within the D neighborhood, which I often don't invest in, that's the only time that I will put in Section 8. But some people, it works for them. And then Another thing that we talked about. So before I go there, let me see. Let's see. Mr. Toby has got question. So, and I hope and hopefully I'll just figure out how to do this in terms of instead of taking the screen. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. Let me know where you all are joining from. And let's share, if you can share the live, that would be helpful. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Absolutely, you are very correct. The risk is if you do not get the education. Thank you for all for joining. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for all of the hats. Yeah, and consider subscribing. We're talking about investing in real estate, because it's the only fuel. You want to build lasting generational wealth. You want to retire early. That is going to help you, right? So basically, you're very right. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. That's absolutely. You have your ways with your ways with words, Mr. Toby. So, not knowing what you're doing, and how do you fix that? Get education, right? I'm not saying go and get a college degree and start getting student loan. That's not what I mean by that. Take a book. Like this is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's probably $8 on Amazon, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's investing. I mean, personal finance 0.01 Even if you have kids, give it to them to read. There's the one for teenagers. So you can always give them. This is the starting point. The Rich Dad. It changes your mindset from being a it changes your mindset from being a consumer to a producer, right? Because there are two different things. Like you being, like Mr. Toby being here, pretty sick, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Toby being here. There's some people that still on this YouTube right now. All they're doing is consuming. They're just, but you being here, you're engaged, right? You are engaged, you are asking questions. Stephanie was, she was on TikTok earlier. She's engaging, she's taking a whole lot, right? She's not waiting to go and get a mentor of 5,000 that is going to pay $5,000 or whatever. Everybody is trying to get as much as free things so that they can produce it, they can use it for their own personal life. Like I know of there's also the person on my TikTok live, the House of Tea, right? Out of tea or something. That she also was like, you know what, this year I have to buy my first rental property. So even if it's just one person, Mr. Toby here will come every single day. Stephanie just mentioned it. I must invest in this business this year. And I always say it starts with the mind, right? That's why I always say it starts first with your mind. If your mind can conceive it, then you'll be able to achieve it. And that's why I started with 0 to 1 million. And I did the analysis. Because if I'm just talking here and I say, you buy the first rental, you'll be like, okay, to what end, right? And that's the more reason why I also talk about some of the lifestyle. I tell you, I've gone to 22 countries, not because of anything. I say it not because I am bragging, because I said I want to travel the world. If I want to, this is an enabler. My 9 to 5 will not help me. Yes, my 9 to 5 will be an enabler. It will help me start the journey, right? But what is going to accelerate the journey? That I will not fall within the paycheck to paycheck, and I will not fall within people that are here that are, I will not fall within the middle class that will work from age 20 to 65, which is the status quo, right? I am breaking the status quo because I say I want to travel the world. So there is a motivation. There's a goal in mind. I have a goal, which is what I tell people. I have a goal. You work hard for your money. Now make your money. Oh my goodness. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Make your money work hard for you. Your money should be working harder than you do. So basically, summary. Keep it summary. That's what I wrap up my videos with every single time. But me being able, and that's why I started doing this live, because when I say that, there's the confines of structure and composure that I need to put those videos, right? But when I'm having the life, there's no composure. There's no, we're saying it as clean as I don't have to get my makeup or get my hair. No, I am saying it like I'm talking to my community. We're real. We're real people. We're, even though I might not met you, but I have met you one way or the other. Like, I know everybody's name. I know Mr. Toby is in New Jersey. I know Stephanie is in Minneapolis. I know of, that's just the same way. That's the way I say it. But excellent, like you said, your money, so the mindset should be your money should be working harder than you do. And this is now me talking. This is the inspiration start of me. Is not, now I moved from teaching mode, right? I moved from teaching mode because Mr. Toby decided to move me from teaching mode to inspiration. So, because really, a lot of times what happens is, and this is why I started with, teaching, right? Started doing what motivated me, right? Because I'm a doctor of business and technology, right? Over the fall, I took some time, like in some of a sabbatical, to be able to teach younger community, the younger citizen, as an academia, teach them things around AI cybersecurity. I teach them, deep learning, technology. I teach them also a bit of finance, right? Just to take some time off. And then I realized that I do have friends. I do have people within my network. I hear where professionals, where they would earn so much, $200,000, $300,000, 150, above 100,000, and then they're still struggling. And then I'm like, but why? But why? They lose their, there are a lot of people that lost their job last year. A lot of people, there are a lot of layoffs last year that was not said. I don't know where they're getting the data from. A ton lost their job last year. I had eviction for the first time. I had 3 evictions in so many years of me investing in real estate. 3 evictions last year. In short, 2 evictions in one particular house. These are good people. These are decent families that have paid for years, but because they lost their job, maybe one person lost their job, they cannot afford that rent anymore. And that's part of the reason why I started talking about this. Because a lot of times, what happens? Everybody, you get your income, your expense, and let me turn this. Let me turn this right now so that I hope you can see it. Let me see. I hope you're seeing the screen. Okay, I'm showing something else. I'm showing okay, perfect. So, a lot of people, why are they broke? Let me put this here. I think you can fit. Why are they broke? The reason why they are broke, and if you can see my screen, I hope you can see my screen. Why most professionals are broke on paper, even with high salary, high pay, they get good salary, but then they keep it there. Most of us, this is 9 to 5. And by the way, what do I mean by broke? You're living paycheck to paycheck. So when your paycheck, you earn 200,000, but if 200,000, if your income does not drop, the next paycheck, you cannot sleep. You don't have financial peace because your lifestyle equals your income. So if this income becomes 0, your lifestyle still remains at 200,000, right? Your lifestyle still remains at 200,000. So, and then you lack financial peace. That's because you do not have your emergency funds, right? Your emergency fund, all of these expenses that are supposed to last you, you should have at least between 1 to 6 months. So if you are just building, start with 1 month, then subsequently, so your expenses start with 1 month, then grow it to like 6 months, put it in an IU savings account. So just in case this income is no longer there, you can still take care of your family and you are not lost. The other thing is, we are almost of the time we just focus on the salary. 200,000, oh that's fantastic. 300, oh that's fantastic. You'll be surprised at a lot of vice presidents and directors of companies that got laid off last year. And I'm not kidding, that got laid off last year. And then, but that's all that they all focus on. That's all we all focus on, not they. Because I want to put myself as a professional in the midst. But then we also forget about cash flow. That you can also put some in ETFs, in brokerages, right? That is generating something for you. You are not getting rent because you don't have real estate. All that you have is this. And then you are not also focusing on side also. Just so if this salary is no longer there, remember you have this. And on top of that, this is too high. This is too high because your mortgage is, some people even rent. They rent and they pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I'm not judging anybody, but if you can pay for it, and then you know that if you do not have that income for 6 months, you're still fine, then all good. If you have invested, you have some properties, right, that is paying for that lifestyle, good. It's not your blood work that is doing it. It's not your blood, it's not your sweat, it's not your years of life that you can never regain that is paying for it. That's all well and good, right? I like good things as well, you know. So those are the things. Then we eat lunch. We eat lunch $20, $40 every single day, but then you still do not fund your Rotary. You do not fund your 401k. There's no brokerage. Those are like things that, you know, that I talk about. that I talk about. You know, so let me turn this. Okay. These are things that, you know, we just need to, you say. And also, every time you borrow money, you are robbing yourself, your futures. You know, the other one that is so bad, the other one that is so bad is then you have credit cards. You spend credit cards that it's 20, you're spending 20, you are paying 27%, 28% on it. They said there's a saying that says that a borrower is always a slave to the lender. A borrower is always a slave to the lender. So you don't want to be a slave to the lender, because imagine those 27%. Ha. Anyways. Anyway, let's go back, and I'll be wrapping up shortly. My plan was to do 30 minutes today, but we've done 1 hour. It's been an interesting journey, right? So back to what I was saying. This is house number 1. Stack house number 2. House number 3. House number 4. And house number 5. Stack this, that's $1 million. $1 million, they start paying it off every single month. House 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 200,000. That's 1 million. Just to keep it simple, okay? Keep it simple that way, and then start paying it off, okay? Once you get to 5, start paying it off. You already start having rent and all of that. Delayed gratification. It is called delayed gratification. And delay yourself now, starve yourself, not literally starve. Of course, eat good food, be healthy, right? Because if you starve yourself and you die, there's nothing. There's nothing when the health fails, or, you know, nothing else matters, right? So try as much as possible, take care of yourself, but ultimately, you know, don't buy all those expensive things, right? Do it for 10 years. Remember, you're doing what people do for 45 years. You want to do it in 10 years. You are changing the trajectory. You are changing the status quo. Basically, that's what you're doing. Okay. All right. And I think I'll wrap up with that. And thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Mr. Toby, Daisy Z, Stephanie, thank you all for stopping by. Really appreciate you hanging out. Now you're a part of this community, Mr. Toby and Stephanie. Thank you all for, you know, the contribution. You guys are making valid points. Valid point. You know, yeah. Every time you borrow money, you are a slave to the lender. So because a borrower is always a slave to the lender. So do not borrow. If you borrow, let it be that you are using it towards, let it be a good debt. You are using the borrow to invest in, you are using it as a good debt. You are using it on assets, right? When you use it on a liability, you are going to definitely, that is totally wrong. So all those Gucci bag, all those luxury whatever, I'm not, like I said, I'm probably wearing a true religion shirt. That's because I can afford it. I love good things. I love H&M, I love MS, I love all of those things. But let it not be that the money that, or whatever, you don't be using your future to buy it now, right? Don't be spending your future on those kind of things, right? Enjoy it, use the money, invest it. Let your investment, so for instance, I think I told a story of When I wanted to buy a car, and everybody was like, "Oh, Dr. Lina, you work too hard. You work too hard. You should buy it," and all of that. I said, "Hell no." Like, have you ever fallen behind on payment for a loan or a line of credit? No. I try to put myself in such a way that if I don't have it, I don't spend it, right? And of course, there could be situations. I mean, situations happen. Maybe I almost fell into it because I ended up buying a property. It was a fantastic deal, right? And I did not want to pass on that deal, right? I did not want to pass on the deal. So what did I do? I I went ahead and gathered all the money that I had, bought the property, and we're like, you know what? We figure it out. But it's also good to have people within your network, right? Instead of that I would fall behind. Of course, I have people because I have people within my network as well that what would do the same thing for. I was able to reach out and say, you know what, your girl just did something really bad. Okay, I need you to, I need a $15,000 right now. Otherwise, your girl is going to be in line. So they were like my credit line. So it was my credit line, but not with the bank because and of course, if they are my friends, because I'll do the same thing, I wouldn't expect them to pay me any interest if they find themselves in that situation, especially when they know that it's investing that I used it for. It's not like, and of course, you know that your friend will not give you that money if you know that you used it for a liability like an MS or a bag or a purse or a shoe or something. But they know that I put it towards an investment. The investment is enough to even pay off whatever 10,000 or 15,000 that I put it towards. So no, I haven't. I haven't. And really, if I don't need a loan, except for mortgages, I've not like taken a personal, except maybe auto and mortgage, really. That's it. I don't do personal loans or whatever, or maybe a pool loan. Okay, maybe that. Yeah, that would be like the craziest. But yeah, other than that, what investment do you hope to make in future? I mean, do I hope to make in the future? It will be basically apartment complexes. Apartments. And the only reason why I haven't done, because in my location, if you're talking about apartment complexes, multi-units, it's not like in New Jersey and that you can have a quadruplex or triplex like I mentioned. You probably have 100 unit apartment complexes. So, and those are millions of dollars, right? So you need to like get enough education, right? You asked about the capitalization rate, right? Yeah, those are, when you're talking about lots and lots of money, right? You want to get as much education. I don't put my money. So yeah, more like an apartment complex, because I know that gives you, the calculation is different. So like single family home, when I say that the property is doubling its value, when it comes to apartment complex, it's totally different. If the property is if you do a little bit of change on that property, because in single family home it's like comparable properties. That's what there's a cap to what your property can be. Okay, because it's comparable property within that neighborhood, within that environment, within, and that's the max. Even if you put gold inside, right, that is the max you can get. But when it comes to apartment complexes, the beauty of it is that if um you change the cabinet color, you modernize it a little bit, you change the color from this, or you do a little bit of tweak, and you're able to rent it out. Reversely, the rent is 850. All of a sudden, you can rent it out at 950, and you have like 90%, 80% occupancy rate. Automatically, the value of the property goes up by that $100. Not $100 into you. The capitalization calculation, the multiplier effect is amazing, right? So, but at the same time, this is If there's anything, yes, absolutely. Investment property, I mean, multi-unit, huge multi-units, would be uh um where I would, I maybe buy more of lands and or maybe development. That's, I mean, I'll still be in the real estate space. Or maybe buy a McDonald's. Buy a McDonald's. It seems that you actually want this jackpot and you need to send me some funds, right? Is that what is happening here? Because you're asking about the future and all of that, right? It means that you have won some jackpots, and you're looking for where to. I'm just kidding, by the way, but that was a good question. Mod here, La Pradelmendra. Hi, how are you? How are you? How are you doing? As you said, mod me. What does that mean? Mod me. I don't know. I'm not. Like I said before July or 2025, you probably will not even see me on social media because that's how social media vast. I just look and that's it. So a lot of things I might not know. So what is MOD me? Is asking, he or she is asking for permission to be a moderator. I mean, we're just a few people here. So, but thank you so much for, I think, Mr. Toby, you know more, even more than me. Mod me, right? Uh, yeah. Permission to be a moderator. I don't know. I really don't think I need a moderator. It's just how many of us here too, right? Or maybe we are more and I don't know because this plays tricks on me. At times I would see a zero and then it will end up to be like somebody is commenting. I'm seeing all the, it happens with to be Daisy a lot. He's asking a question, but then he will show a zero. I'm like, this thing, because I could literally be dancing and not say anything, and I would not know that somebody is there, So those are things. But I hope that answered your question, Toby Daisy. So, question for you: what's your investment? What investment do you hope to make in the future? Just sending that same question to you. I mean, that's if you care to share, right? That's if you care to share. Okay? That's if you care to share. And I'll just grab water. And we'll be wrapping up here shortly. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up here shortly. Okay, but then you put me on the spot to let you know. Okay, I'm waiting. Don't worry. We're here. We still have 2 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes. And then, I mean, that 2 more minutes is a lot of time to think because you've talked about a million. You've talked about inheritance. We talked about yeah, all those questions that you've been asking. I know that you already have the answers. That's why you're asking all those questions. And every other person that is here, thank you. Let me know where you are joining from, okay? Let me know. And thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, because definitely you would learn a lot, right? Because like my video yesterday was why some professional guest talk, or why, those are things. And I have other videos how to invest in real estate within 4 months. I honestly don't know, Miss, to be honest with you. Okay, yeah, but at least there's the ETFs we talked about, right? There's the real estate, right? Those are options for you, because it's very important, right? It is very, very important that we are investing. The basic one, right, is having your emergency fund in an IE savings account. That's the basic one. That's like the minimum. In an IE savings account, your emergency fund in an IE savings account. Hi, La Predra Lamede. Where are you joining from, by the way? Right? And consider subscribing to the channel, right? What does that even mean? La Pradel La Medre. That sounds like French, or I don't know. Let me not. Okay, so real estate, ETFs. Do you consider having? You are in on Texas. I am from Mike on State, Mike on Texas. Okay. I don't know. I'm in Texas as well, but I'm not Mike on Texas. Okay. All right. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining the live. Okay, what does that even mean? Troller. Okay, whatever. Anyway. Okay, so basically um have your income, having an IU savings account, right? Have it in your IU savings account. And then your emergency fund, and of course the second thing that you want to invest in is ETFs. So even if you don't know where to put, you want to at least exhaust your. I'm surprised that with all the discussion that we have for the past 3-4 days, you should at least tell me one, right, Mr. Toby Daisy? You want to have in your emergency fund in an IE savings account. You want to have is simple ETFs, right? So your 401k, your Roth IRA, and your brokerage. You want to put it there as well. And then, of course, real estate. Uh, well, I know at this point you're just playing around, La Premadre, right? You're just playing around, okay? But it's okay. We're wrapping up as well. So enjoy, have fun. Have fun, have fun, okay? So, yes. All right, all right. It's really good catching up with each and every one of you tonight. Thank you for also being. When will you be live again tomorrow? I'll be here tomorrow. I think it's going to be either 8:30 or 9, thereabout. Around that time, that's when I'll be live. I know that you want it a little bit earlier, but then I'm still trying to fit my schedule. If I can, I would be a little bit earlier as well. If otherwise it will have to be earlier in the day when people are at work. Maybe during my lunchtime, then I can be able to also do this. Maybe I can also try another time. But do you get notification whenever I'm live? Do you get notification? Because that's very important, because I could also change the time. And then I just want to make sure that people get notification whenever I'm live. But thank you all for joining tonight. Yeah, but it delays for me. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully we can get better. Yeah, but consider subscribing if you're new here. I promise here I help professionals build generational wealth, ending the paycheck to paycheck cycle, and ending the broke cycle through investing, smart investing. Basically not hypes, not get rich quick scheme. I don't do that. Okay. Most importantly, ensuring that you grow discipline and ensuring that your money works harder than you do. Like my friend Mr. Toby Daisy said, making your money work harder than you do. Kindly subscribe, or consider subscribing to my channel. It just helps you. It takes nothing from you, but you will gain more. Because I have weekly videos, long form videos on Sundays, and then I have daily videos all through the week, right? Every day during the week to help you. So if you subscribe and you see that you don't get value in 30, in 60 days, feel free to unsubscribe then. But try it first and see if it works. Okay? All right. Well, I love you all. Thank you all for showing up, and definitely I'll see you tomorrow. Also, happy Valentine's Day and happy President's Day. God bless you too. Thank you. All right, guys. Love you guys. Let your money be working harder than you do. Bye.